The reason I'm asking all of these questions right now, oh, you see her face? You know her face doesn't look good right now, right? Madden is looking very, very pissed. Why though? Well, here's the thing. In this episode, we find out that Lukey boy over here has been, he gave her money, I think it was around about 10K for her to open up her own business, her own little salon, okay? And right now, he's trying to find out if her salon has got profit. You know, he's trying to find out if, you know, the money that he's given or that he gave to her, if it's now, you know, coming back to him. But sadly, it's not. Because right now, the business itself in particular is going rather slow. And to be fair, is that a surprise? No. Because anybody that has ever opened up a business, okay, started a business, knows that to get the profit, that can take some time. For some people, it can take a year. For some people, it can take 5 years. For some people, it can even take 10 years. Because really and truly, it depends on what business you're obviously opening up. And also it matters on where you're opening up. You know what I mean? Obviously what industry you're going into. There's so many different variables when it comes to opening up a business. You see what I'm saying? And even if you get all of those things right and then you finally open up the business, it doesn't always work out instantly, because sometimes you have to wait for the word of mouth to get out and for people to be like, hey, I actually want to go to that place right here, right now. Do you see what I'm saying? So end of the day, when it comes to her business moving slowly, that comes as no surprise. I mean, listen, I could have sat and said, well, she's young, she's got no experience. Of course, this is going to happen, which still is points, but let's not forget all the other things too. You know what I mean? All the logistics. Anybody, like I said before, who's opening a business knows that the process is not always necessarily quick. But either way though, right now, he's trying to find out if this business is going to have enough money to pretty much cover up his own stupidity, which is what we're getting to right now. And as you can see, Luke finally decides to tell Madeline, hey, babe, I don't have a job anymore. Ooh-wee. And it's crazy though, because he decides to, not, I wouldn't say interrogate her, that's a bit too much of a strong word, but he decides to question her first about her business before he gets down to his nitty and gritty. To be honest with you, I don't think the way he went about it was really the best of ways, in my opinion. Personally, I feel like he should have just broke the news to begin with and then said, hey, but let me know what's going on in business. Are we getting any profits? Blah, 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 blah. And then obviously go from there. At least the conversation starts with a better direction than what it was. It was before. It was kind of like, hey, this and that. And as you can see by the expression of her face, it's something that definitely made her feel obviously somewhat uncomfortable. And then of course the information then comes after on about him no longer having a job, which obviously is a big problem in their relationship. Why? Well, because he's the only person bringing in money. But here's the thing though, she asks him the question, so when did you find out? When did you know this? Last month. So you lied to me for 1 month. And of course, like anybody else in this world, you would be absolutely vexed, absolutely annoyed. You will not be happy, because you're thinking to yourself, why couldn't you just be honest with moi? This clown here talks about how he wanted to have a conversation in person about it. Yo, guess what? Your relationship is long distance. When your relationship is long distance, it's important that you keep communication as transparent as possible. Because really and truly, when it comes to making that commute, to seeing each other, depending on who, regardless of who's flying, you got to know that wherever you're going into, you're going to be going somewhere where somebody has been honest with you the whole time. So you know that the time that you're investing in seeing that person, the money you're investing in seeing that person is worth it. You see what I'm saying? But to say that I wanted to wait until I see you in person, for me personally, it feels like you're kind of trapping someone, you know, because imagine this, right? You're in a relationship with someone from another country, or maybe even another state if you're in America, whatever, okay? And they come all the way to you, and then they tell you about something that they should have told you before they came to you. At that moment in time, you're still going to feel obliged to still invite them to your house, still feel obliged to have to spend time with them. You know, it's like they're trapping you to say, oh, I'm here now, so we might as well have a good time, rather than giving you a chance to process it, and then for you to say whether or not you still want to see them or not, etc., etc. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's one of the bad things about when people do this in long distance relationship, when they say, well, I wanted to tell you in person, when it's something that really and truly should have been told a bit more differently. Now here's the thing though, yeah, let's get into this bit here.
Only have 2 or 3 months of funds to keep this, our rent, and my taxes paid.
And that's why he wanted to know about the business. He wants to know if the money coming in from the business is going to be able to help them moving forward when it comes to, of course, their life together, as well as, you know, the fact that his financial situation right now isn't exactly the best. And to make it worse, in next week's preview, it's revealed that he has spent 11K on a business venture of his own. And trust me when I tell you, she was not happy. She was like, oh, so you're not going to waste money when you don't even have money? Which is a very, very, very good point. Now, of course, naturally, as you can see, she's obviously annoyed at this moment in time. Who can blame her for being absolutely vexed at this moment in time? This is what I'm saying. And of course, yeah, she's like, I don't understand why he didn't tell me. I'm going to tell you why he didn't tell you this, because he was afraid you was going to leave him, which is quite interesting. He thought that you was going to leave him because, well, you're with him for the money, because that's how he feels. Do you know what I found out recently? Now, I'm going to say take this with a pinch of salt, because I don't have the actual evidence itself in particular, but this is the rumor that I've been told, okay? And the rumor is based on how these two met. Now, what they said on the show, well, is not accurate to what I've been told. From what I understand, we have got another Gino and Jasmine on our hands. And when I say we've got another Gino and Jasmine, and what I'm saying is that these two met on a, is it a sugar baby or sugar daddy website? Allegedly. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Take it with a pinch of salt. And also on top of that, last week I did question how old was she when they met, because we know that she's 19 right now. He's 30 years of age right now. Okay, well, I said I wouldn't be surprised if they met at a well, I said that maybe they met when she was 18, because I don't think they would have met when she was 19. Well, rumor has it that they met when she was actually 17, which means he would have been what, 28, 29 at the time, give or take, obviously, when their birthdays are. So he actually met when she was quite young. And also on top of that, it is reported that when it comes to making an account on any one of these dating sites or whatever you want to call them, you don't have to show proof of your actual age. So anyone at any age can literally make one, and that is just that. And that is the scary thing about the internet, isn't it now? So with that being said, if he's met her on one of these sites, and she knows that and he knows why she's with him, and it's fall for the mullah. Of course, he's going to be nervous to want to tell you these things, because he's going to think, ah, damn, she's going to bounce and leave me now because I can't be her sugar daddy any freaking more. But you know what? Sometimes in life, people just don't know how to make things any better for themselves.
Look, job is the only money we have it coming in, and we need that money to pay the salon bills.
Because, of course, because she's not making any money, they're going to need something to still pay the rent for the building that they're renting and everything else. Wow, I'm going to say this right now. Luke has definitely put himself in it, because really and truly, I can't really sit here and project the blame on Madeline per se, because, well, he's the one that's entered her life and told her that he's going to give her this, give her that, and now he's in a position where he may not be able to actually deliver on his promises. And if that's the case, well, guess what, buddy? You have ruined your own, you have shot yourself in the foot. Now, this is where it gets a bit interesting.
Did you just say first?
Now, I don't know if the question here was Luke your first intimate partner? Now, if he is her first intimate partner, I mean, I guess it would match up with her age. You know, I don't even know people can lose their virginity at any age, you know what I mean, these days. 14, 15, like, come on, it's ridiculous, isn't it? But I do wonder if that conversation there was linked to that, because the more and more I watched their episode here, their scene in this episode, right? And I was thinking about the things that I've been told, and I've been told so many other more things as well regarding their relationship as well, which I haven't said just yet, but I will say in other videos as well. In this one, I'll just mention this bit here about how they allegedly met, okay? And when I watch the video now, it makes sense, because on the first episode till now, he has spoken about how she doesn't love him, how he feels like she doesn't always love him conditionally, you know, unconditionally, all that kind of stuff. This is what I'm saying. Him always talking about obviously the money and whatnot, him being nervous about the money. If he's not there, then she may leave him. It all really adds up, because if we go back to Gino and Jasmine, that was kind of like the same flavor too, wasn't it, to a certain degree, as well as other people who are in the same similar situation when they've come on the show as well. So I do feel like when you watch things here and there, I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I think there's a big possibility that she may only be with him only for the but he knows it because of the website, you know what I mean? But to be honest with you, that's not even that much of a big deal, to be honest. What's more of a big deal is the fact that she was allegedly 17. That is the big deal right there. But hey, it's a complete madness. See, this was an interesting one, to be fair. A very, very interesting one. So, we know that he's a donor, right? So we know that in his line of work, that it works in different ways of how you can get a woman pregnant. And one of those ways is actually having intimacy with that woman. So if you're in a relationship with someone that is a donor, yeah. It's just interesting because you see, here's the thing. I'm a bit mixed about this one because you see, Annie's trying to make a point, but at the same time, though, I sit and I say to myself, but why would you decide to be in a relationship with somebody in his line of work? It doesn't really make sense to me because if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody who you know that his line of work is involved sleeping with women, it's going to be a massive ask to ask him to then stop sleeping with women. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, it's going to be a massive ask because you see, if it's something that he has done for however long, it then becomes what? Somewhat, you can argue and say it's become somewhat of even an addiction. Do you know what I mean? Something that's going to be hard to just pull away from. You know what I mean? Especially if it's your business. And let's say in that business, most of the women that he comes across prefer it the intimate way. If, let's just say that's the case, right? Then that means he's going to end up losing, you see what I'm saying? Okay, more people. You know, obviously there's less of a benefit out of it, if that makes sense, right? So for me personally, I sit and I say to myself, I don't know why Annie would even bother being with somebody like this if she knows that you're going to have to try and convince him to change his ways. To be fair, I don't know why anybody would be in a relationship with anybody that they know that they have to convince that person to change their ways. Because why? You know, make that make sense. You know what I mean? Like really and truly, when you meet someone, you should meet someone that's already at a stage in their life that makes sense to the stage of your life. Not somebody that you then have to try and drag along or somebody you then have to try and convince to change this and change that, especially if it's changing things that are massive things, things that are big things. Obviously, sleeping around women is a massive thing, and obviously his line of work, right? But here's the thing though. She asked him the question about going to Australia. Why did you go to Australia? He starts off by saying, I don't remember. I mean, to be fair, that was ludicrous. I don't know who says this. I don't remember. Like, was you drunk? Was you high? Like, you know what I mean? You don't just land somewhere and say, oh, I just forgot what happened. But either way, though, she finally gets him to confess that, yes, he did, go there and he did sleep with a woman and to help her get pregnant. But the funny thing about it is the way he then decides to speak about this woman.
She was desperate.
There's a lot of women who want to get pregnant.
She was very desperate. She was like,
I don't know why that's relevant, to be honest with you. You know, whether she was desperate or not, you still slept with her. Here's the thing, if you're going to do something, you're better off saying with your chest. Okay, you're better off standing on it, right? For what it is. You went there, this woman wanted to get pregnant, so you slept with her. That's it. It doesn't matter whether she was desperate. It doesn't matter what role she played in it. The fact is you still did it anyway. What reasons that come with it, they're never going to be relevant. Do you see what I'm saying? End of the day, if it's me now, I'm in this position now, and this is my line of work, which will never be me, I would legit just be like, listen, this is what I do. So this is what we did. Boom, bam. You knew what you was getting into. Do you see what I'm saying? But of course, that's not exactly what went down here when it comes to these two and stuff in particular. But let's move on to himself in particular here in terms of what he says next, because
Money.
I have sex with someone usually and to get pregnant, and it's more professional. It's boring. I don't view it as cheating at all.
So, of course, he says intimacy is something that I do on a professional level because that is his line of work. All right, cool, whatever. You do what you got to do. But at the same time, though, he says I then don't view it as cheating. Now, that is a very good freaking question because I sat here for a while thinking to myself, is it cheating if you know that you got into a relationship with somebody that is in this line of work? It's like a man getting into a relationship with a woman that's in the adult industry, and then she goes off there, does her little videos or whatever she's gonna do, you know what I mean, to earn her money, and then he comes back and says, "Oh, so I saw you did this with so and so, you must have cheated on me." Well, is it? You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a sticky one. It is a very interesting, actually not even a sticky one. To be honest with you, I think it's one of those things that if she says, "Oh, he cheated on me and he was unloyal to me and he done these things behind my back," the only way that can hold water, the only way that can be put in a position where it makes sense is if he told her at some point when they were talking and getting to know each other, if he said that, "Listen, now you're my woman, I'm gonna stop sleeping with other women because I have this is what I want to stop doing because of the respect of our relationship." If he then steps out, you know what? 100% he has cheated. But if they've had a conversation where she said, "Oh, no, it's okay for you to do it," and now she's going back on it, well, then he didn't cheat. Or then there's the third option. Let's say they didn't have a conversation at all about it, and she expected him to stop doing it. This one is going to be quite controversial. You know, the longer that I live in this world and the more experiences that I go through, I have learned that expectations is one of the worst things that we can ever have in this world. When you expect somebody else to do something that you have not told them, if they end up doing it, can you still be upset with that person that you never told to do something that you didn't want them to do, just simply because you just expected them to do it? Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite, because I always say to anyone that comes in my life, if there's anything that you want from me and you require from me, always tell me. Don't ever expect me to do anything. I don't want to be having a whole argument or whole conversation about the fact that you're upset with the fact that I didn't do something that you expected me to do, because if I don't know it, then I just don't know it. You see what I'm saying, okay? So of course, in this conversation, I said I don't want to be a hypocrite. So really and truly, if she knows what he does for work, okay, what he does for whatever, okay, therefore, and she hasn't addressed it, well, then therefore she shouldn't expect him to just stop it. You see what I'm saying? Now, of course, if things were different in the way of, let's say things were different, and, you know, these two are become exclusive or whatever, do you know what I mean? And this is not what he does. His line of work is completely different. Should you expect him to be low? Oh, of course, 100%, because that's a bit different, right? It's like an unspoken rule, you know what I mean? But in this situation here, it's a bit of a funky one, do you know what I mean? As much as I would love to sit here and say, you know what, I see what Anne's saying here, and I see what she's saying here, I just feel like the information that's given to us doesn't really work much in her favor, sadly so. You know what I mean? But either way, though, that is my thoughts and opinions on that one itself in particular. But yeah, my advice is just don't be in a relationship with somebody that works in an industry that involves sleeping with other people. Point blank and period. Yeah.
Somebody else that was into it, and then you text me the next day and was like, "Oh, let's just be friends."
He wasn't.
You know, these two have already broken up twice. And just there, that was a little description there based on how one of their breakups even went down. Where literally he found somebody else who was willing to have threesomes, and therefore he said bye. But here's the thing, though: who's the clown in this relationship? It seems to me as if she keeps taking him back. But if anything, she keeps wanting to have him back. Their relationship is so freaking simple. This man wants to be with somebody that's going to allow him to have threesomes with them and somebody else. Point blank, period. He's never going to change his mind about it, and that's something that she's even admitted herself. She even said that at the end of the day, once he's got something in his mind, he's very, very persistent with it. But for some bizarre reason, she continuously still stays with him anyway. Make that make sense. But you can't make sense out of freaking stupidity. You can't even make sense out of people that are just flat out desperate, or at least come across as if they are desperate. You see what I'm saying? And let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it simple. The man wants what he wants, and he's going to obviously seek what he wants regardless. And you keep going back to him regardless. So really and truly, you're only making a clown of yourself. You see what I'm saying, okay? And to be honest with you, to make it worse, when it comes to these two in particular, there's even a situation itself. Now, let me just play this little bit right here real quick.
What happens if I never agree to having a threesome?
For me personally, I just feel like that is one hell of a pointless conversation. You know, obviously he decides to respond with a very smart ass comment, you know, pretty much saying, you know, in my heart, there's there's hope. He's hoping that this is going to happen. He's hoping that she's going to change her mind. I mean, listen, is it a possibility that she may change her mind? No. Why? Because she's made it abundantly clear that she's never going to change her mind. Now, here's the thing, though. Because of this, he decides to then pretty much dumb down the conversation, and then he says, you know what, let's just go back and just have some fun. And she's like, okay, then. Oh, dear. Another relationship that is based on intimacy rather than based on actual emotions.
It makes like a boom. She's the one. She was gorgeous. She was
I feel like he only cares about what he wants and not thinking about what I want or even how I feel about it.
So, you know, he says originally that she wanted to do the threesome. She agreed to it, but then she changed her mind. Boom, changed her mind. And to be honest with you, if she did that, well, then again, she's at fault, isn't she? Because you can't say one thing and then change your mind just like that. Because here's the thing. If you say to somebody who you know is passionate about something that you will do this thing with them, they are going to expect to want to do that thing with you because that's something they really, really want to do. Changing your mind isn't even an option, to be honest with you. You see what I'm saying? If you change your mind, you might as well leave that person. You see what I'm saying? It's just as simple as that, you know. But Alex over here seems to have a mind of her own. Do you know what I mean? Okay, but the fact that she knows that he's a persistent person is crazy. She even says he's gonna hound you about it. So you know that he's never going to change his mind. She's now nervous about going to Australia because she's worried that if she goes to Australia, that she's going to lose him. So which tells me that their relationship is only stable. It's only still together for simple reasons, purely because she keeps going back to him. She keeps seeking him. She needs to let go, move on, and go find somebody else who's going to give her exactly what she needs, and somebody that's going to make her feel worth herself. Somebody that only wants her and wants her only. But whether that's ever going to sink into her mind, ooh, bloody freaking knows. Oh boy. You know what? I am struggling to figure out whether or not I feel sorry for Sean or if I don't. I definitely feel that I have fallen in love with. I definitely feel that I have to fall in love with her again. So he's in a position where he fell in love with Douglas. Why? Because he likes men. But Douglas no longer exists. Aaliyah has now entered the chat, and Aaliyah is here to stay forever because Douglas, well, bye. That is the past. So now Sean's in this contradiction and this dilemma where he's like, what do I do? Because I fell in love with Douglas. I miss Douglas. Douglas is all I want. And when I look at you, I still see the Douglas, and it's giving me the false hope to want Douglas. But I have Aaliyah now. So now I'm in a position where he feels he needs to fall in love all over again. Which brings me to ask this question. If you fell in love with Douglas because you fell in love with Douglas, fantastic, but you was attracted to Douglas, why? Because Douglas was a man, yes? Okay, fantastic, which means that, of course, as we already know, that you like men. But now you're with somebody that is transitioning into being a woman. So if you know that your like is for men, not women, then what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you giving yourself false hope? I mean, Aaliyah's made it abundantly clear that Aaliyah is here to stay and Douglas will never be seen ever again. And that's something that has been very, very strongly said by Aaliyah herself in particular. And also on top of that, the fact that he's even talking about, and I'm hoping that's possible. Like, come on, let's get a grip. But at the same time, though,
I love this one. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty. Yeah. Been exclusive.
Sorry, I was trying to get the spot on his face because in this scene here, I was just saying that, look at this man. He's out here right now going shopping and he looks stressed. Not because he's out shopping, he looks stressed because he's like, but I don't love you. I don't love Aaliyah. I'm trying to, but I just can't. I know you're out here trying to look good and trying to look sexy and trying to look as feminine as possible, but yeah, that's not what I like though. I'm not into that. You know? I mean, listen, in life, people have to be honest with themselves. And the problem that I feel like he's having here is that he's not been honest with himself. I mean, even talks here, he goes, you know, I've been exclusively dating men. You know, he's been exclusively dating men for a while now. Do you know what I mean? Okay. And at the end of the day, he knows he's been doing that because he likes men, nothing else but men. But of course, he continues by saying, but I guess in this moment, it's hitting me. Of course, it's hitting you. It's hitting you that, guess what? You are, yes, in a relationship with a woman now. Simple as that. And he does go on to pretty much elaborate on the fact that, you know, he was with Douglas. He liked Douglas for a reason. And even though he appreciates who Aaliyah isn't exactly the person that is for him. The reason why he liked Douglas was Douglas was quite reserved, quite introvert, quite quiet, you know what I mean? And, you know, he's in the stage of his life where he just wants somebody that brings that level of peace, not somebody that is out there living the wild life. But here's the thing though, now Douglas has turned into Aaliyah. Well, Aaliyah is a whole different character. Aaliyah is all about having fun in life, you know, getting dressed, all these things, twerking in a shop randomly, even getting on the freaking floor, which blew my freaking mind, to be honest.
Right now, I'm feeling a disconnect between Douglas and Aaliyah. So I'm struggling and trying to decide if this is something I can sign up on or if it's going to rub me the wrong way. I definitely feel that
Well, that comes down to you, buddy. That comes down to what choice you decide to make. You see what I'm saying? You know you're struggling. You're admitting you're struggling, which is good. Do I respect the fact that he's at least trying to fall in love or appreciate Aaliyah? A part of me respects it, but there's part of me also says that you're a clown because you know what you're like. So you know what? No, I don't respect it. And the reason I don't respect it is because he's giving himself false hope. Well, listen, we've all been in life and we've all given ourselves false hope in certain situations for certain reasons, you know what I mean? And sometimes in life, you just have to come to terms with yourself that giving yourself false hope is one of the worst things that you can ever do for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And for me personally, he is a man who is he's a man that is at an age in his life, a stage in his life where he should know whether or not he's wasting his time or not. And the fact that he doesn't process the fact that he's actually wasting his own time blows my mind. But then again, of course, at the same time, this is a TV show, so I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, he's in a position where obviously he has to drag out this storyline for as long as possible, so therefore they actually have a story, of course. I would like to imagine that away from TV, he would have been like, nah, this ain't for me, I'm out. Do you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, the other thing that we also have to remember is that not only did he fall in love with Douglas, but he's now also having to pay for the transition that Leah's going through. Now, when I say pay for the transition, I'm not talking about like any kind of work that may be done. I'm talking about like the clothes shopping. Because he does make a little joke. He says, I think Aaliyah's trying to get me drunk, so I spend more money on her when we go shopping. Do you know what I mean? So let's not forget though, he's also funding the lifestyle that Aaliyah's looking for. He's also funding the lifestyle or the person that Aaliyah is now becoming. Damn. Imagine that, funding a life or funding someone's life that you're not even attracted to. A life that you don't even know if you want to be a part of it. Damn, not only are you wasting your own time, but you also seem to be wasting your own money as well. Gee, that is crazy. Nonetheless though, let me know your thoughts and your opinions and we can most only talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.